After a great race last week at Texas, we are going to put the points racing to one side for one more week as the guys in the MPi Cup Series come to Charlotte here tonight to race it out for a $500 payday. Good evening, everybody. My name is Sam Cooper here for the Esports Broadcaster Network, ESPN, here in sunny Charlotte in North Carolina. And joining me in the booth again, as per usual, is Mr. Frank Marchese. And Frank, somebody's going home $500 richer after this one here tonight.
Yeah, that's what's going to make this race a lot of fun for us to watch. It's not just the competition. You don't have anyone worrying about points racing here tonight. It's all about speed. It's all about bragging rights. It's all about an extra $500.
Yeah, we've got a couple of heat races. We've got a stacked situation for everybody here tonight here at Charlotte. We've got two heat races plus a main race, and Frank, I believe you got all the information there just to break it down ever so slightly for us.
I do. We got 5 minutes left in this practice session right now. After this, we're going to see our normal 10-minute 3-lap qualifying as we normally do. After that, all of the cars that qualify in the odd number positions or the inside row will race in Heat 1. That'll be a 25-lap heat, and then the top 10 finishers in that heat will advance to the 50-lap All-Star race. After that, all the cars that finished on the outside row or in an even number position will run in Heat 2. Same thing as the first heat. Top 10 advance. That will make up, the first heat will make up the inside row for the All-Star race. The second race will make up the outside row for the All-Star race. And then 50 laps, winner gets $500.
Absolutely, and we've got all the usual names here. 26 drivers set to take the green. Only 6 drivers will be eliminated after the heat races, and it's all to play for. We know how competitive these guys are, and we're pretty sure they are going to put on one hell of a show, especially in these heat races if they want to make it to the finale.
Yeah, without a doubt. And this seems like a little bit of a smaller field. There are a couple of guys who are out of town this week, and this series has a rule you have to run. They hold 3 official practice sessions over the course of the week. And if you do not compete in any of those practice sessions, you are not eligible to compete in the race on Sunday night. And I believe 5 or 6 drivers fell foul of that rule, which is why we have this shortened field tonight. But still, that intensity is going to be there. We're still going to have that full All-Star race. Not as many people going home as we may have thought, but still a night of action set to come.
Yeah, Austin Hager, Dakota Curtis, Garrett Davis, Jerry Hutchison, Caleb Levine, Zachary Wilson and Zachary Taylor, all not eligible to take part here tonight, and it's unfortunate. Some big names in that list not eligible to take part here tonight.
Yeah, Curtis and Wilson, we knew those guys are out of town, but for the rest of that group, that is a little bit of a hit. Not necessarily in points, since there's no points on the line here tonight, but still, it's another week to get out, race with the guys, race these cars, learn something new maybe, because iRacing seems to have one major update every single week. So feel out, see if they did something different with the car, or just go right on to next week to test for next week.
Absolutely, and next week we are at New Hampshire as we resume points racing here on ESPN with the MPi Cup Series. So that one's going to be a very interesting one. Just a quick mention on New Hampshire, obviously in Loudon, up there in the northeast of America. It's a very different dynamic to what we've seen so far in this series since we started broadcasting here on ESPN.
Yeah, we've seen, this is going to be our 4th race broadcasting. It's amazing to think a month has already gone by. But we've done a race at Michigan, we've done a race at Pocono, Texas, and now here at Charlotte. The tracks are getting a little bit narrower, they're getting a little bit slower from the way they started, but next week is going to be a completely different challenge. 1 mile, flat racetrack. It's going to be really, really difficult on tires, really, really difficult on brakes. It's going to be a completely different challenge from anything we've seen so far this season from what we've broadcasted and what the drivers have faced so far this season. They have not raced on a racetrack like Loudon yet.
Absolutely. 1 minute left in practice now, and before we get things underway here in qualifying for the All-Star race. As we've already mentioned, no points on the line, but there is a prize for the winner. That will be $500 in your bank account if you can actually get this to victory lane. And one driver that stands out to me is this man. He absolutely put on a clinic last week, and he'll be looking to do the same this week. That'll be Ray Rogers.
Yeah, Ray Rogers sitting right now 4th in the timing sheet. Sorry. Had a great run last week at Texas. He was able to really save the tires, really keep that car under him, and use whatever he needed to use to get out to a big lead. Had a bigger lead after the pit cycle at the end of the race. The money stopped. Really worked in his favor. Won the race by just shy of 10 seconds over Chris Wilson last week. So very similar layout in track design here from Charlotte to Texas. I'd be looking at him. He is probably the man to beat here tonight.
Absolutely. As the time ticks down, we are now qualifying for the All-Star race here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Going to be looking to see who is going to make their first appearance out on track, and it's going to be Ryan Thomas in the 99, going to be the first man to bring it out of pit road here. And Ryan Thomas, winner already this season. He's going to be another man looking to get that victory here tonight, right in the number 99 PS5 paint scheme here tonight.
Yeah, a little bit of a different look. And remember last week we had all those number changes. This was one of the guys. Ryan Thomas was the driver of the 20, now driving the 99 here. So a sharp looking PS5 scheme, if I do say so myself, as he comes across the line to begin his first of 3 quali laps.
Now, as he flies off in towards turn 1 here, let's see what benchmark he can put down here as he comes out of turn 2. Now, they do have 3 qualifying laps here around Charlotte, so in 10 minutes, plenty of time to do it. You're doing about, 25 seconds around here, so not too bad. As he comes out of turn 4, he will put down the first benchmark here, down towards the line, through the double dog leg, and across the line. So Ryan Thomas will put in a 28.744. That's the first time of the night.
Yeah, the big key is you want to get that first time down, and these second and third laps are really going to be your money laps, because now you got a little bit of pressure in the tires, you got a little bit of heat in the tires, car's going to start to stiffen up a little bit, feel a little bit more comfortable. So you would expect the second and third laps to be even better here, as Thomas crossed the line. Yep, at a 6:35, just off about 100th of a second off of his best lap in practice.
Parker Bland out on track as well. He's just gone up to second place in the double zero. The 60, sorry. No, the double zero. I was right, because Richard Swaverley just went up to second. Now we've got 3 cars running exactly the same paint schemes here tonight. We've got James Kunkel, Parker Bland, and I believe Daniel Holcroft is running the same paint scheme as well. Will be interesting to try and keep up with that one, but I'm pretty sure we'll be able to do it as Chris Shoemaker goes to the top of the board here, Frank.
Yep, Matt Rogers then quickly replaces him. For what I've seen flipping through these drivers, it looks like the second lap is going to be your lap. If you want to get a very good qualifying time here, it looks like you're going to have to maximize that second lap, because the third lap, it's looking like the car is falling off just a little tiny bit.
As Rogers crosses the line once again at 28.792, that third lap not fastest of all, as we go to one man that we keep neglecting to see every now and again, but we are with him this time. Jerry Culver out on track now as he starts, I believe, his second lap now as he comes flying out of turn 2 here, Frank.
You didn't get the Culver cam up for this week?
I have now.
Okay, I think no, because Chris Wilson, we were talking about the Wilson cam last week. I think he sold it to Culver this week for this race.
Well, Chris Wilson was unfortunately unable to make it this week, so that might have been worth it. As Culver crosses the line, 28.928, that will put him up to P16. So he'll be on the outside row that'll be the second heat race, I believe, the outside.
Yes, outside row is the second heat race, and it will be the outside row for the All-Star race as well.
As Culver comes out of turn 4 now. Let's see if he can make an improvement here on his third lap. He's down to P17 now. And no, that will not be an improvement at 29.208. Let's go to another driver here that's out for this heat race and looking for $500. That is Mr. Carl Burke, making only his second start in the series as he comes out of turn 2 here on his first lap of the night. Carl Burke has been fast in practice. We're looking for him to be right up there tonight.
Yeah, he certainly was fast in practice. He was fast in practice last week at Texas. Unfortunately, got involved in that first lap wreck. Ended his night after just trying to get out of the way and just trying to be patient with the car. Puts in a 787, put him P15 right now on the timing pylon. And
that would be on the inside row as James Kunkel to the top of the board.
Yeah, Kunkel really flew for that first lap, a 583, better than his best time in practice. And again, that was on his second lap. He's on his third lap at the moment, coming through 3 and 4, as he will put down a 28.901. So yeah, that probably is the most dramatic fall off, but there's certainly a pretty severe fall off as Carl Burke actually put it right behind him with a 28.626, good enough to put him in second position.
Yeah, points leader coming into tonight, but obviously this one not for points. That is Garrett Brown out on track now in the Monster number 19. Let's see what he can put down. You know, he's a pretty slow burner, as Mr. Garrett Brown likes to start off low, then work his way to the front as the race progresses, and see how quickly he can work his way forward as the race progresses here tonight, because obviously with money on the line, you can't be sitting back there for too long.
No, with no points on the line either. It doesn't matter if you wreck the thing. So Brown has been Mr. Consistency all year long. That's how he's built that huge points lead that he has. I believe, if I remember my maths right, I believe it's a 52-point lead. And to my recollection, I don't think he's won he has won one race this year.
Yeah. But he won at Pocono, I believe. So
yeah, you're 100% right. As Brown, not the swiftest of laps, puts him 17th at a 28.760. He's on his third right now.
He won at Michigan, sorry, not Pocono.
You're right.
The man that we like to call here on ESPN Mr. Unlucky, Craig Burns, is coming out of turn 4 right now. Let's see if he can turn his luck around. And he's been pretty fast in qualifying, just not able to get it hooked up during the race. But that time there, 28.849, not really lining up the time of scoring. It looks like he might have hit the wall there.
Yeah, he hit the wall coming out of that second dogleg going into turn 1, and that's a lot easier to do than you may think. Fortunately, he'll have one more qualifying lap here. He's on his second. He'll be coming around when he hits the line this time. That'll be his third and final qualifying lap for Craig Burns. So it's a really easy mistake to make, and unfortunately, Burns made it.
This might be a stroke of genius for Craig Burns, because he's obviously abandoned that second lap. Now, this is his out lap for his second lap. Now coming back out again on fresh tyres, this might actually work in his favour.
Might have learned something on the cold, fresh tyres on that first lap. He's going to try to do something a little bit different this time around, and this is the lap he's going to have to get it good here. We've only got about 2.5 minutes left in this qualifying session. Only Trevor Massetti in the 3 and Ray Rogers in the 51 have not set qualifying times. Everyone else has set their times.
Ray Rogers has just come out of pit road, so we'll go to him in just a second. But across the line goes Craig Burns. 28.930, so did not improve this time around. That's going to put him 22nd, so poor qualifying by his standards. But here we go. This is the man that won last week at Texas, Ray Rogers. We've already mentioned him here tonight. He's going to try and put in a decent qualifying run. It looks like he will be the last driver to put down a time here in this qualifying session.
Possibly. Massetti has a little bit of time. He could get a couple of laps in. He won't be able to get all 3. But with what we've seen, the third one really doesn't matter. But Rogers now sticking to that high line, trying to build momentum for the second and third lap, so he's not really concerned about this first one. He's trying to get heat in the tires, get speed and momentum built in that car.
Wow, that's a slow time for Ray Rogers. By his standards, let's see what he can do for his second lap, though.
But again, he was running the outside line that whole lap, and now he puts it down on the bottom, trying to get the most speed he can out of the 51. It's a very similar tactic to what you would deploy at Daytona and Talladega, running the outside line for that first lap, trying to build up as much speed as you can. Second lap here, 6:69. That'll be P9 for Ray Rogers right now.
Yeah, good time for him second time around. Let's see what he can do for his third lap. Still no Trevor Massetti. We've got 43 seconds left in the qualifying session, so it looks like he will not take a time here in this session, and he will effectively start on the back row in the second heat race here tonight. And here comes Ray Rogers out of turn 4, down through the quad oval. Let's see what he can put down for his third lap as he puts in a 28.686. Not an improvement that time around.
No, but very close. So good effort from Ray Rogers. He will be in the first heat of the night. So not going to have to jump out of that race car for too long before he has to get back in it.
Not at all. As while we are waiting for the heat race to begin, we're just going to take a quick moment to thank everybody for tuning in on Facebook and on YouTube. Just a couple of YouTube comments here. We got one from Dominic Lee, who says, good luck tonight in the booth from all of us at Race Pass Motorsports and Wildcard Racing. We thank you very much there, Dominic, and good luck for yourself tonight as well. Wilver Rivera says best of luck to everyone, so good to see you enjoying the show as well. Let's take a look at the Facebook side of things, and I know there's going to be comments in that one because there always is. Garrett Brown says, good luck everyone tonight. Wish, it was Chris Wilson saying, good luck everyone tonight. Wish I was there. Garrett Brown saying, thank you. Chris Wilson, obviously, he's in the field tonight as the field starts rolling for the first heat race here tonight. Austin Hager saying, good luck fellas, in the Facebook chat. And got a few more. Brian Fine saying something, but I can't see what he said. Because Facebook.
And also, if you are watching, there's a third place you could watch these races now, and that is on our brand new website that we just debuted earlier in the week at espnofficial.com.
Actually, it's been a week now. Has it?
No, I think it was for... no, I think that was Tuesday night.
Yeah.
It was our first night with the website, so... Thank you for all of you guys that are watching there as well. We have our YouTube link, and we have that live streaming on our website right now.
So, heat race number 1 about to kick off here. We've got James Kunkel and Matt Rogers making up row 1, Ryan Thomas and Ryan Wilson making up row 2, Ray Rogers and Dominic Lee making up row 3, row 4 with Brian Fine and Clint Leatherwood. Row 5 will be Dylan Hastings and Dustin Reeves. Row 6 will be Justin Hendry and Craig Burns, as Jason Clark will bring up the rear on the field here for this first heat race here at Charlotte Motor Speedway as we come out of turn 4. Heat race number 1 is about to start here as there goes the pace car. And James Kunkel going to lead them down to the line here as green flag will fly, and we are racing for 25 laps in heat race 1 here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Frank.
Boy, oh boy, Matt Rogers was asleep at everything on that restart. He's going to fall right back to 4th place, at least. Now here comes Brian Fine, trying to take the 5th position. Now remember, winning this heat race doesn't matter. You just have to finish inside the top 10 to make it to the All-Star race.
Yeah, look at Ryan Thomas already making a move onto the inside of James Kunkel as they come out of turn 4 to complete the first lap of the race here as they come down through the quad oval for the first time. And it is going to be Ryan Thomas leading them through turns 1 and 2 for the second time here tonight. Now, unfortunately for 3 drivers here tonight, the last 3 drivers in the field will be eliminated from this event. At the moment, it's Dustin Reeves, Craig Burns, and Jason Clark going home at the moment.
Yeah, and that's something we're going to be watching throughout these first two races right now. Clint Leatherwood in the 22 just gets past Justin Hendry. So now the 28 car, that is the bubble car right now. That's going to leave Dustin Reeves, Craig Burns, and Jason Clark having a premature end to the evening.
Yeah, Justin Hendry picked up a podium last week at Texas. Would love to pick up a decent result here tonight, as Ryan Thomas is going to lead them out of turn 4 once again, as we've got a bit of a battle behind them. I believe that's Dylan Hastings in the 9, just ahead of Clint Leatherwood in that lovely Mission 22, number 22.
Yep. Leatherwood is really starting to make a move. We first brought him up. He was the bubble car. He's been trying to work that outside line, and especially here at Charlotte, coming out of 2, you get such a beautiful run down the back straightaway. And that 22 really the only one working the outside line, and he's making it work.
Yeah, so these heat races are effectively sprint races to set up the grid for the main event coming out later on this evening, and they're effectively sprint races, so no pit stops necessary, I don't think. So shouldn't be a problem there, but obviously when we get to the 50-lap race later on this evening, there will be at least one pit stop involved there.
Yep, there's only a 55% fuel limit, which means these guys can only fill their cars up to 55% capacity. As a battle for the lead, that's the number 91 of Kunkel out leading that lap. He turned a defense on Ray Rogers into an attack on Ryan Thomas, as now you see these guys starting to work that outside lane. You're not going to get a great run on entry, but boy, that run on exit is really going to help you.
Yeah, Ray Rogers very quickly moving his way up to third place. Brian Fine in the number 98 machine coming out of turn 4 now. He's running in P4 now. Ryan Wilson in P5. You see him right there in that number 20 Napa machine, and we've come quite accustomed to that number 20 car. He's been running at the front for quite a lot of times, but also been very unlucky as the race progresses.
Yeah, unfortunately, just a couple of laps ago, that number 10 had a big moment going through 3 and 4, really split the field in half, and that allowed Reeves, Burns, and Clark to catch right back up to that back end of the group. So the 28 does have to be aware, as Thomas and Kunkel still fighting for the lead up at the front. Yeah,
Kunkel really showing how fast he can be as they come out of turn 2 here on lap 8 of 25. And look at the defense that Ryan Thomas is putting on. It seems like he sees Ray Rogers as more of a threat than James Kunkel at the moment.
Yeah, Kunkel's the one that he's immediately defending against, so he's the one he's really got to be wary about. But it's really interesting to me to see these guys. You don't need to win this race in order to advance, but they're defending the same way they would at Daytona Talladega. Look at how low those guys are coming off of turn 2 and coming off low off of turn 4 just to try to hold on to their positions.
Now the top 5 have completely broken away from Clint Leatherwood and now holds on to P6.
Oh, there's the 22 and the 10.
And we might see a caution here. Matt Rogers involved. Oh, big wreck for Rogers.
They were 3 wide coming out of 4, and the 22 was in the middle. And unfortunately, that kind of squeezed the 10 into the wall. Not really much he could have done there.
That's what we spoke about at Texas. That area push can really catch you out there, and unfortunately, Leatherwood really caught out by it. And the man that came off the worst of that one, a bit of an iRacing glitch there as he hit the wall. That launched him in the air, but Matt Rogers coming off the worst in that one, and that might just end his night here tonight.
Yeah, that would be expected. It looks like Reeves got away okay. We were talking about Craig Burns during qualifying, and his run of luck lately seemed to have made that through that with minimal damage. Not sure who that... Oh, that's Jason Clark in the number 58 with a bunch of front-end damage on his car. Dominic Lee caught a little piece of it as well, so and, a lot of damaged cars.
Clark just passing straight through. So Jason Clark is the other driver that's running a police car scheme here tonight. So I believe that's 4 drivers that's running that paint scheme here tonight. So
yeah, that whole team running it.
Yeah.
Tonight.
Thanks for the confusion, but I said to them, we can handle it, so, you know. It's on us just as much as it is on them.
He said we could handle it.
But you said.
Oh, boy. So...
I had to make it halfway through. And we're under our first caution of the night on this broadcast here tonight, as Ryan Thomas is going to lead them down the backstretch here, and you got to think that Matt Rogers is going to have to bring that car into pit road. I know he doesn't want to go down there. Obviously, he wants to pick up as many spots as he can to try and make it into that finale, but that car just looks way too damaged to be out there right now.
Yes, and I mean, there's it's one of those risk versus reward things now that could really loosen up his race car pretty. What was that?
They're coming down pit road. Ryan Thomas and everybody else behind him. So
I was on the replay. So.
Yeah, so wholesale pit stops right now at this juncture in this first heat race. So maybe they thought they couldn't make it the whole way, the whole 25 laps on one tank of fuel. It looks like Matt Rogers might have blown up because he's just had to tow into pit road.
Yeah. The 9 completely blew his pit stall. He almost ended up 2 stalls in front of him. Now he's gotten back in, so that's just put Dylan Hastings in a danger zone.
Just be thankful that this is under caution. And it doesn't matter so much, but it's going to cost him a few spots here. We've got Leatherwood, Burns, obviously Jason Clark, Matt Rogers, who's in pit road as well, and Dominic Lee. Now, Dominic Lee got taken out very early last week as well. So for him to be in such a predicament that he's in right now, he can still get into this that final top 20 race later on in the event, but it looks like Clark and Rogers might be done here.
I would have to assume Rogers is, yes, and I would have to assume Clark is. Rogers is 1 lap down, so that's pretty much killed his evening off. The front end damage on Clark, which, by the way, go figure, is PD Motorsports that are running all those cars tonight. With his front end damage, I would assume he's done as well. As Dominic Lee is spinning through the tri-oval.
Possibly some suspension damage on that 41?
If you mean suspension, if your definition of suspension is mental breakdown, then yes, it was a complete suspension error.
Well, you know.
He was coming up way too fast on the field and ended up spinning it to avoid running right into the back of the 12.
I mean, you could rephrase it like, "Oh, it's mental how my suspension just broke down." So that's
it's fair.
Oh, he spun it trying to avoid the back of Craig Burns.
Yep, he did.
Wow, that was interesting. Frank, get us going for this restart.
Right, cars headed down the back straightaway, and that's one of my favorite lines from Carl Edwards. Somebody asked him, he had a big wreck, and asked, did something break on the car? He goes, yeah, something broke. I think it was traction. As I guess you had to be there. The 20 of Ryan Wilson will lead them down. It'll be Ryan Thomas to his outside. Now, Wilson did not pit under that caution flag. Everybody else around him and behind him did. Pace car peels off, getting set to get into that restart zone, and we are off again, racing green here in Heat 1.
Yeah, and only 12 cars will take the green this time. Matt Rogers unfortunately blew up during that restart, and look at Ryan Wilson, mega start by the 20 there.
Ooh. Boy, and a mega squeeze from the 99 of Ryan Thomas to get down to the inside lane in front of Ray Rogers, and now he's going to have that run to the inside, but look at Kunkel try to take it 3 wide on Rogers.
And Ryan Wilson gets pushed up wide there out of turn 4. Now you've got to be careful. On the exit of turn 4, there is a bump on the very high line of that corner, which will catch you out and put you into the wall. So you need to be careful through that corner. Now, since they reconfigured this track, that bump has only appeared. I've never seen it there when they had the old track on the surface, but it's definitely there now.
It's less of a bump and more of just a drop. As the track levels back out, it just kind of drops you down onto the front straightaway instead of a smooth transition. As the 20 of Ryan Wilson falling to the back of the, we'll call it the clean car group, and the damaged car group in the back now is going to have their crack at him.
As they come out of turn 2 here, look at Ray Rogers now is right with Ryan Thomas, and now very much a battle between these two. The 51 and the 99, these have done battle all season long, and now they get to do it here again to try and make their way. Well, they can't battle, but they don't really need to battle too hard. As long as they stay out in front of everybody else, they don't really need to be fighting too hard right now.
And with that accident and taking 2 drivers out, all you have to do is not finish last in this heat, and you're into the finals. So could be just trying to work out runs that you could possibly get for the All-Star race, trying to work out how the car is going to react when you put the car in certain situations, but you really do not need to push hard. Again, you don't get anything for winning this stage other than the pole for the All-Star race.
And Ryan Wilson has fallen all the way back down to P7 now. He's got Craig Burns to his outside as Wilson almost gets it wrong through the 1-2 complex, as Burns moves his way up to P7 as Ray Rogers now moving his way to the lead, or challenging for the lead at least, as he goes to the outside through 3 and 4. And look at Brian Fine right there as well as they come through the quad oval.
Yeah, Fine has been running, no pun intended, just fine so far here in this race. As James Kunkel, I think, may have had contact with the wall because his car is not liking sitting out there on that outside. Almost had contact with Dominic Lee in the 41, able to hold on to that 5th position. But right now, that trio for the lead that's the fight here.
Justin Hendry, who was right on the bubble at the start of this race, now finds himself in P4, and that just goes to prove how quickly you can move your way forward, or in Ryan Wilson's case, move yourself to the back, because he is outside of that top 10 that's going to make it through now.
Yeah, he's regretting not making that pit stop right now, as he's about to lose position to Jason Clark, who had a lot of front end damage after that accident. So Wilson, right now, the 2 guys on screen, or I believe they're on screen, are the 2 cars that will not be advancing. So far, the 22 of Clint Leatherwood is the car on the bubble right now, as we have 4 laps to go in the heat.
Oh, Kunkel spun. Kunkel has had an issue. Let's take a look.
Yes, he has.
And contact from Dominic Lee, and that's put Kunkel around through the infield. And Kunkel, who was a favourite to go through at the start of this heat race, is now on the outside looking in, and a long way back now, as we are 4 laps to go here at Charlotte in this first heat race.
And I mentioned that those 2 almost had a coming together a couple of laps prior, and they finally did it to each other. As Kunkel, the pole sitter, remember, fastest of everyone in qualifying, is now going to be looking at an early seat home.
As we're looking at the battle for the lead here between Ray Rogers and Ryan Thomas, who is going to get first blood here out of this one as we go down to the line. Popsicle sticks out for the first heat race of the night, and it's between Ray Rogers and Ryan Thomas for this first heat race. And I say you can't really battle too hard for a race win if it's a heat race, but a race winner is a race winner, as I've recently found, so I can't really say too much.
It certainly is, and especially for this one, it means pole position. For the All-Star race, you want to be able, we've seen it time and time again this season, that you want to be the one in control of the restart as the white flag is out for the first heat race.
Yeah, as the white flag comes out side by side between the 99 and the 51 going through 1 and 2. Now that incident between Dominic Lee and James Kunkel has helped Ryan Wilson, meanwhile, as he's now been elevated up to that top spot, that last spot in the top 10. So Ryan Wilson getting a bit of fortune. He must have been given a few Hail Marys out then during that last run. But here we go, out of turn forward, side by side between Ray Rogers and Ryan Thomas. But it's going to be Ray Rogers that takes it at the line. Or did he? That was a dead heat almost. Just 6/1000 of a second, but Ray Rogers did steal it.
Yep, that did go to the 51, and that right there for any of the guys racing in Heat 2, they just learned something. That outside line off at turn 4 is very, very helpful when it comes down to the line. So maybe you might want to be defensive of the outside line for the second heat and for the All-Star race.
Absolute heartbreak for the two of the 4 PDE Motorsports drivers here for this one. Jason Clark and James Kunkel eliminated along with Matt Rogers in that first heat race.
Yeah, and the Clark incident, that was just something just not his fault. And then hard racing is really all you could say about the incident that put Kunkel, again, the pole sitter of during the actual qualifying session, that sends him home.
So heat race 2 about to get underway, and it's going to be Carl Burke starting on the pole for this second race. He'll have Chris Shoemaker on his outside. Austin Shoemaker and Warren Keith make up row 2. Row 3 will be Richard Swaveley and Steve Kerpel. Row 3 will be Swaveley and Kerpel. Row 4 will be Parker Bland and Daniel Holcroft. Row 5 will be Garrett Brown and Ryan Ezel. Row 6 will be Kip Easley and Jerry Culver. And Trevor Massetti will round out your field of 13 in the second heat race. Now, this is going to be just as wild as the first one, I'm predicting, because these guys very much going to be right on top of each other when the green flag falls.
They certainly are, and they've been able to watch a race. They've learned some tricks that they can use in this one. They learned don't wreck, otherwise that puts you at a serious disadvantage. They learned don't to take tires if there is a caution, because that puts you at a serious disadvantage. So they've learned a lot. The only issue is they're cold. They weren't just out on track right now. They've spent the last 15 to 20 minutes watching another race. That's really the only concern I would have with this second group.
So, Frank, I'm going to give you the honour of starting the second heat race here tonight if you want to.
Absolutely, I will. And I think it's some point during this second heat race, do you think we could get a word with Ray Rogers, possibly?
Maybe.
Once we get this all settled out and ready to go. So, second heat getting set to begin. This will determine the starting order for the outside row of the All-Star race, which will come up right after this. Pace car is off. Carl Burke will lead them down with Chris Shoemaker to his outside. They hit the restart zone and the green flag flies. Heat number 2 has begun, and Shoemaker with a great run, and Warren Keith trying to follow him around the outside.
Warren Keith had the worst of luck last week at Texas, leading a lot of the laps there last week, and unfortunately had a throughput that put him out of the race. Let's see if he can get some better luck this time. Carl Burke, a very slow start as the green flag came out, and is now battling out with the 0-1 of Warren Keith, who's is outside there as they come through the quad oval for the first time here in the second heat race here, Frank.
Yeah, Warren Keith just did the same exact thing that the 12 of Craig Burns did during qualifying. Hit the wall coming out of the second dogleg going into turn 3. Sent him back a little bit. That'll put Carl Burke back up to the lead of the race as Chris Shoemaker has to fall into second place and slide right in front of Warren Keith.
Yeah, and Carl Burke now leading this piece as they come down to start lap 3. It's going to be Burke, Shoemaker, Keith, Austin Shoemaker in P4, Swaveley in P5. The 3 drivers outside of that top 10 qualifying position right now is Daniel Holcroft, Trevor Massetti, and Kip Easley rounding out your field of 13 here. And Holcroft, he needs to get a move on here. He doesn't want to be that third PDE Motorsports driver eliminated here tonight.
Yeah, no, but he's got the championship leader right in front of him. That's the, that's the 13 of Jerry Culver. Pardon me, I looked right past Culver. And then Garrett Brown. So that's a nice little race they have right there at 26 and the 13. That should be a good one as we get down to it.
And Culver on the bubble right now as they come out of turn 4 to complete lap 4 and start lap 5. Carl Burke still leading this thing, has about a car length over Chris Shoemaker right now. So Burke looking very good as we go further on into this race.
I love that number 60 Power Star car of Richard Swavely. I love those unique and obscure paint schemes that you'd never think to run. And Richard Swavely certainly has my interest piqued with that one as he clips the apron just a little bit, able to get in front of Austin Shoemaker, who had a little bit of a wiggle coming out of turn 4 of that last lap that allowed the 60 to get under him. And now Kerpel trying to stick the nose of that number 24 below the 15.
Now, it's very unusual seeing Parker Bland in a less than funky paint scheme, but we're seeing him here tonight, obviously running uniform paint schemes with that PD paint scheme, but he is there regardless, as we're still seeing a battle here for that last spot in the top 10. Holcroft almost hitting the wall coming out of turn 4 there.
Ooh, Ryan Ezell also had a little bit of a moment there outside of Garrett Brown in the 19, but right now Trevor Massetti is the transfer car in the number 3. 13, 26, and 27 right now. They're falling off of that number 3, but that 3 is the car to watch.
Yeah, Massetti trying to get to the back of Ryan Ezell, who's having his own problems right now, trying to get around the points leader, Garrett Brown. Not exactly working out for him. Steve Kerpel has got his hands full as well. He's trying to get around Austin Shoemaker, but has Parker Bland right on his rear fender right now, and that's how close these heat races can get right now. They're all trying to make it in for that big shootout race at the end of this event, and like I said at the start of the broadcast, it's going to be wild here tonight.
It certainly is, and again, you're really the only thing you're doing right now is trying to set your starting position. No payouts for the winner of the sprint races, as now the number 4 of Chris Shoemaker falling out of second place. He's going to fall behind Warren Keith in the 01 and Richard Swavely in the 60. So that 4 got caught on the outside line for some reason. Just doesn't seem to have the oomph it had during the first heat.
Swavely, we've seen him on ESPN screens before. I believe he was running an IndyCar before. I could be wrong. But he's here in a stock car. But there is Austin Shoemaker. Now, he's right behind his brother. Can he get to the back of him? I believe they're brothers. I could be wrong.
Oh, stuff.
Steve Kerpel right behind him as well. He's trying to make his way forward, but at the moment, the race is being controlled by Carl Burke, who's just absolutely checked out right now.
Yeah, Carl Burke really hasn't had much of a problem, and now that Richard Swavely has made a pass for second place, that's opened his lead up another 3/10. He's almost a second clear of these guys. We didn't see this sort of gap during the first race. That 53 making a case for being the car to beat in the final.
Yeah, watch for Richard Swavely though, because he's going to be fast now. He's got that clean air in front of him. Probably going to have a bit of
15.
Oh, that was almost very close there by Austin Shoemaker. I think he almost got into the side of Steve Kerpel there.
He was wiggling quite a bit coming out of 4, going into the dogleg, and almost went up into the 4. And just that awful run continues as now Kerpel, as Austin Shoemaker trying to build that momentum back, Kerpel has now gotten under him, and slowly but surely up comes the 19 of Garrett Brown.
I said watch for Richard Swavely, and it's coming true right now as Richard Swavely has now pulled that gap back into Carl Burke to down about 0.3 of a second. Out of turn 2, big move there by Swavely, and he's right on top of him, and Swavely going to take over the lead just like that. Swavely is your new leader of this second heat race.
Richard Swavely was a half a second quicker than Carl Burke that last lap, and now Swavely taking the lead here again, another 0.4 quicker than Carl Burke. So that 60, that Jeff Bodine throwback, really working so far here tonight.
Yeah, very smooth running there for the 60 as they come out of turn 2. Swavely now leads this race. Carl Burke in second. Warren Keith just about holding on to third place now as Austin Shoemaker has now got past his family member as they come out of turn 4. He's up to P4 now as Chris Shoemaker under pressure from Steve Kerpel, and here comes the points leader as well. Garrett Brown trying to make his way forward as well.
In whatever moment Austin Shoemaker had certainly woke him up, and Chris Shoemaker now is starting to fall backwards into the clutches of the rest of the group is now Ryan Ezell in that number 88. He is the bubble car, and he is not out of the woods by any stretch. He has Kip Easley in the 27 right behind him.
Unfortunately for Jerry Culver and Daniel Holcroft, they have completely fallen off now, so they might be the two of the three cars going to be eliminated here tonight. But this one here, between Ezell and Easley, this one's still very much contested right now as Ezell runs wide, and there goes Kip Easley up into that number 10 slot.
It's interesting to see how different the lines have been from Heat Race 1 to Heat Race 2. The outside line not working nearly as well as it was in the first Heat Race, and that moves Kip Easley up into the transfer spot as Ezell is just fallen completely off of him.
Yeah, so Easley now pulling away from Ezell. I wonder if the tyres have burnt off, and that might have been the case for Carl Burke as well, because he's now 1.4 seconds off the back of Swaverley. But at the same time, Burke is keeping a pretty much, well, I'd say he was keeping a pretty decent gap over Austin Shoemaker, but here comes Shoemaker now out of turn 4, and he's reeling him in now as well.
Yeah, Shoemaker, like I said, it's whatever issue he had really woke him up, because he's been on a charge forward ever since that big moment where he in the 4 almost wrecked. Swavely not doing anything crazy. Carl Burke right now is about a half a second slower than anybody else around him.
And this is where he needs to be careful. We're coming down to the last 7 laps of the race, and he needs to kind of stay with these guys. If he can't, if his tyres are burning off, he needs to try and protect them the best he can. The only advantage he has right now is the fact that Chris Shoemaker and everybody else behind him are battling hard and just helping him preserve that gap at the moment.
And the unfortunate thing is, with these races being as short as they are, you tend to run them like a qualifying race, so you push as hard as you can, figuring, well, there's no points on the line, somebody's going to make a mistake and somebody's going to wreck, and then you don't, then nobody wrecks, and you're on these worn-out, god-awful tires until the end of the race. That's a major, major problem. You have to run every single run like the whole thing is going to go green.
Now, Kip Easley has caught up to the back of this pack now, as Massetti having a couple of connection issues there, as it looks like Ezell has been passed by Jerry Culver as well now. But it's going to be too little too late for the man in the 13, and it's probably going to be the last we see of him tonight, unless he can pull something very special or we see a caution here.
Yeah, Kip Easley has opened up. I believe that's roughly a 4-second gap on the back on Jerry Culver. So really all the 27 has to do is not bin it, and the top 10 are in.
Yeah, as we're looking at Easley right on the back of Warren Keith now, who's struggling in that 0-1. So Keith has probably burned off the tyres as well now, and he's fallen back into the clutches of the 27. Going back to the front though, Austin Shoemaker now up to second place here, Frank.
Yes, Shoemaker's been rolling on Carl Burke, and now Austin and Garrett Brown behind them fighting for 4th and 5th. Somebody has finally made that outside line work, and somebody has been saving those tires. Parker Bland in the 00, he is rolling right now. One of the fastest cars on the track, and one of the only ones to make the outside line work in this heat.
Yeah, and as it stands right now, he's going to be the only PDE Motorsports making it into the final race of the night as they come out of turn 2. We've got 3 laps to go in the second heat race. It looks like Kip Easley isn't going to be content with 10th place here, as he's going to look to the inside of Warren Keith. Now, these guys are safely into the final race of the night, barring a caution. But with the way these guys are racing right now, I'm pretty impressed by how clean they're keeping it here tonight.
Yeah, they've been a lot more spread out than the first group, and they've had a lot more like little individual battles brewing here as we're coming to one more lap to go in this heat. It's been really, really nice to see, and just a completely different race from what we saw last time through.
as Richard Swaveley picks up the white flag here in this second heat race as he comes through 1 and 2 for the final time in this heat race as he comes down the backstretch for the final time. Swaveley saved the tyres at the start and then just used them to his advantage to work his way up to the front, and then once he got to the front there was no looking back as Richard Swaveley will come out of turn 4 and he will claim victory and the second slot on the front row in the main race coming up next.
Very impressive run by Richard Swaveley. 2-second win over Austin Shoemaker in the 15, and unfortunately that will leave Jerry Culver, Ryan Ezell, and Daniel Holdcroft out of the All-Star race. Only one of those PD Motorsports cars, and you were worried about the duplicate cars, man. God,
We're only going to see one of them in the race now, so that's. You know what? I'm kind of disappointed.
Oh, of course. Those are nice-looking cars, though.
As we're going to go to the grid now. I know we were supposed to get a word in with the winners of the heat races, but we just don't have the time at the moment.
So much action.
Absolutely. So with that, we're going to go to the grid for the main race here tonight at the Charlotte Motor Speedway for this All-Star race here tonight. And starting up on the front row for the main race will be James. No, not James Kunkel. What's going on?
You want me to get it for you?
Yeah, please, because it's messed up.
I got it. Ray Rogers and Richard Swaveley will start on row number 1. Ryan Thomas and Austin Shoemaker will be row number 2. Justin Hendry, Carl Burke. Row 3, Brian Fine and Garrett Brown to make up row 4. Craig Burns and Chris Shoemaker will make up row number 5. Row 6 will be Dylan Hastings and Parker Bland. Row 7, Dominic Lee and Steve Kerpel. Row 8 will be Dustin Reeves and Trevor Massetti. Row 9, Clint Leatherwood and Kip Easley. Row 10, and rounding out the fields will be Ryan Wilson and Warren Keith.
So that is going to be the grid for this race as they all start rolling away from the line. Ray Rogers is the man that's going to start up on the pole here, and you got to think, going off the form that he was on last week, got to think he's going to be right up there with the favourites tonight.
Yeah, he certainly is a favorite. I think if Carl Burke can keep the tires under his car, that he's going to be a favorite as well. You can't count out Ryan Thomas in the 99, and Swaveley put on a pretty impressive performance in that number 60 in the last heat. So there are a lot of guys that are sprinkled all over this field that, if conditions are right, if they can keep their cars clean, are really going to have a very decent shot at this.
That they are as they come through 3 and 4. We're about to get this final race. $500 on the line here to the winner. And who is going to come home with that big prize there? They are walking away. $500 richer as the pace car peels off. Ray Rogers has control of the field as they come through the quad oval. 50 laps the distance here as they come down. Green flag will fly. We are racing for the final race of the night, the main race here in this one at Charlotte, and somebody out of these 20 drivers is going home $500 richer here, Frank. Oh, Ray Rogers!
Not going to be Rogers, he's already around.
Oh, what a restart there, and it looks like easily going to get a piece of it. Ray Rogers gets slammed from behind there. Let's go back and look at that one. Everybody across the start-finish line, so we're not going to get a confusion here. It looked like Ryan Thomas. Oh no, Rogers got on the apron. And
I was going to say, that's a problem with Rogers. That wasn't anything that Thomas did.
We're going to go aboard with...
He blew up. Rogers pegged the RPMs and blew up.
Oh no.
It's almost as if the car went to neutral.
So Rogers is out of this race in just the first corner. What a disaster.
If you can get an onboard look with Rogers and just listen to the sound of the replay, and just listen to the sound of it, he pegs the rev limiter and just
Yeah, already one step ahead of you. Already did that
Yeah,
replay.
It's strange. I have not seen that happen in one of these cars.
No, it's very unusual, but that unfortunately has put Ray Rogers out of this race. And we said right before this thing started that he was going to be the favourite to get the win here tonight, and it all just came undone in one simple corner.
I mean, I've done that many times. Just today, running the SimLabs cars, I'm kind of learning how to use a clutch in these, and if it's really, those SimLab cars are really finicky when using the clutch. You have to have it depressed fully. You have to have it depressed a certain amount of time in order for it to shift. Otherwise, it just sits in neutral. It's almost as if the car just went into neutral and just didn't find a gear.
So in a sense, you could say it was a mechanical failure that caused that, not the hit from Ryan Thomas.
Yeah, no, Thomas had no idea. When I saw that first replay, I'm like, man, that looked like Rogers just hit the brakes.
Now, for some reason, and I don't know why, but Dominic Lee has found himself a lap down. Now, this is probably stemming from the incident he had with James Conkle during the heat race. He might have got a penalty for this race. It might explain why he's a lap down.
Yeah, he had a pit lane start. I'm not sure if that was mandated by the admins or what, but he had a pit lane start for this race. And looking at the YouTube chat, I think that would make one Sarah Greer pretty happy.
Well, there's still plenty of this race to go, and it looks like Dominic Lee is going to get the wave around here. So, still a lot more to go here on ESPN with this race, and we've already had drama in lap 1 of the main here. What more drama are we going to see before this race is over? Obviously, like I said before, $500 is on the line here to the race winner. And already the man that was favourite to win this one is out of this one.
Yeah, not just a complete fluke for Ray Rogers there. So I'm pretty sure we're going to be coming to 1 to go here this time. So it'll be the 60 of Richard Swavely who's going to be leading them down. He'll have Ryan Thomas behind him and Austin Shoemaker to his outside. That's got to be a little comforting, knowing that you have a guy who you raced your last heat with starting right next to you.
Hey, look, we've got a mod in the chat. It's one guy called Byron Rodney. I don't recognize that name.
I couldn't tell you who that is.
Why is he a mod? I've never made him a mod. Anyway. Sorry, Byron. We love you, really. Anyway.
For those of you who don't know, YouTube live streaming chat moderator.
It's been around for 15 years. People should know by now.
Some don't. Some don't. That's all you can say.
Mind you, they didn't start live streaming until what? 2010? 2012? I don't know.
Still, there's some people that don't do this for a living there, Sam.
Well, I don't. I work in the supermarket for a living, but you know.
I remember those days, unfortunately.
Hey, I make good. I'm not going to go into it. I'm not going to go into it because it's...
Yeah, no, the rest of this race is going to be a rant between both of us on how... Anyway.
As Dominic Lee sets the fastest lap of the race so far as he rejoins the back of the field, and now we're ready to get this one going under anger properly this time. Unfortunately, Ray Rogers, a victim of a first corner incident that took him out. But now we're set to go racing again on lap 6 of 50. And it's going to be Richard Swaveley that's going to lead them down towards turn 1. Austin Shoemaker, Ryan Thomas, watch for him on this restart, especially, as well as Carl Burke. But all of these guys are fast on restart, so I shouldn't really point just one driver out. But here we go. Pace car is off. We're ready to go racing once again. Richard Swaveley going to lead them down. And green flag will fly in the air, and we are racing once again. Hopefully no more dramas going in towards turn 1, but hopefully drama as the race progresses, as they go flying towards the first turn. And Ryan Thomas, I said watch for him, and he's already up to second place here, Frank.
Yeah, that's what we keep talking about, race by race. That outside line, second place is probably the worst position to be in because you can't see the leader and when he's going to make his restart. So that inside line is expected to get that better run, and unfortunately for Austin Shoemaker, that's a big fall.
Yeah, and Justin Hendry moving up to third place now. Carl Burke on the inside of him as well. This is not a good start to the race for Austin Hendry. Here comes Brian Fine as well, making his way forward in that yellow number 98 machine, as it's Richard Swaveley still leading this thing, but has Ryan Thomas right on his rear bumper now.
Yeah, Ryan Thomas is right there, and Justin Hendry is not that far behind, and they're side by side, 3 rows deep for second place. Now, this is the one you want to win, obviously, and still, heat race, there's going to be a pit stop in here at some point. You want to really push the car and push everyone around you right now.
As they fly down the backstretch once again, look at Justin Hendry, trying the big power move on Ryan Thomas, and Thomas shut the door right in his face and says, no, you've got to try harder than that, sir, as they come through the quad oval again on lap 9 of 50, and you can tell there's money on the line because these guys are leaving nothing on the table for the other drivers.
No, and this is the point of a night like this, just go after it. As Hendry made the latest of late moves to the inside, does the exact same thing to the 99 again, this time makes it stick, and Justin Hendry up to second position.
And Chris Wilson, you really don't wish you were leading this race. We don't want to have to use that threat of putting a camera up on the screen again. Jeez. Anyway, Justin Hendry up to second place, and he's hunting down Richard Swaveley here.
While we're on the topic of the YouTube chat, by the way, thank you to Bill S. The Shoemakers are father and son, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much for pointing that out. Yeah, we're still learning the drivers, so we'll get used to them as the season progresses. But going back to right now, Ryan Thomas back down to third place. Carl Burke is still right there as well. Brian Fine. Craig Burns up to P6 now. What a run he's having here tonight.
Yeah, Burns really is having a big run in that number 12. Started in 9th, had an iffy run. He's got a clean car now from the heat race incident. He's going to be making that thing work here tonight. Yeah,
as he's bringing that Menards number 12 down past the line now. We're starting lap 12 of 50. Richard Swaveley still leading this piece, but here comes Justin Hendry. Big power move to the inside, and the 28 will lead this piece as they come down the backstretch here, and he's going to cut the nose off of Swaveley as they go flying in towards turn 3. New leader as Brian Fine putting a move on Carl Burke just as I say that.
Yep, that's the top 5 all in your picture there. Just outside of that is the points leader, the number 19 of Garrett Brown. He's slowly moving his way up there as well. But Hendry, I absolutely love that car. Just please make sure you save your tires.
Chris Wilson. He's saying we need that camera.
We'll figure out a way to get it at some point.
Anyway, making the way through the quad oval once again. Brian Fine up to P4 after displacing Carl Burke. Here comes Garrett Brown to the outside of the 53 now. And we're seeing those struggles that Carl Burke had in the heat race starting to rear their ugly head early here tonight in this main race, as now sailing it around the outside is Garrett Brown, and he's already figured out how to use that outside line to his advantage here.
Yeah, we're seeing those guys that ran that outside line stay there, as now we have a battle for the lead again as Richard Swaveley going in on Justin Hendry. He'll make the position and he will clear Hendry going into the second dog leg. Will Hendry be able to stay clear of Thomas? No, he will not. But as you mentioned, guys that ran the outside successfully in the first and second heats are staying up there. I don't think I've seen Parker Bland on the inside at all this race.
No, he's been absolutely fine as he's putting a pass on Steve Kerpel right now, and he's almost put himself in the wall doing that. So he needs to be kind of careful as Kerpel goes right in front of him. And Ryan Wilson, probably the luckiest driver in this field right now, just making it in by way of an incident between Dominic Lee and James Kunkel. Unfortunately, putting them out, but Ryan Wilson feeling very lucky to make it into the field and finds himself in the top 10 in the process.
Yeah, this battle here for, what is this, second to about eighth is really heating up. Thomas has gotten back around Justin Hendry. The 12 is putting on a show. They're about 3 wide going into turn 1. Burns backs out of it. And now even more cars involved in this. These guys are putting on the show we expected. Meanwhile, Richard Slavely is pulling the Sebastian Vettel. He is checking out.
Yeah, we've got a bit worried for Dylan Hastings there. He got pushed down to the apron from that incident with Craig Burns getting a bit loose there and managed to gather it all up again. He's back up there trying to find a way past us. These guys are absolutely throwing bombs at each other. As here comes Dylan Hastings trying to get around Garrett Brown.
It's a big wiggle for Parker Bland behind that, and Bland is in the wall. Hard with Kerpel.
Oh,
the 22 of Leatherwood's in it.
Big disaster in part. This team have had nothing but bad luck here tonight. Let's go back and look at it.
Bland's troubles start coming off of 4. Oh, he took a big wallop.
And I said not a couple of laps ago that he needs to be careful using that outside line because it will come back to bite him, and that's exactly what it did.
He was on the inside. It's why I said this really started out of 4. He was on the inside of Kerpel. Almost ran up into Kerpel off of 4, was wiggling all the way up to the first dog leg. And then just in an attempt to get in front of Kerpel, just pushed right up the racetrack, and Kerpel, unfortunately, not really much he could do. And boy, Leatherwood, nowhere to go for the 22.
Warren Keith and Trevor Massetti very lucky to get away with that one. There was contact between Leatherwood and Massetti as Leatherwood unfortunately wrecked himself trying to avoid the wreck between Kerpel and Bland. And all it was a door contact and Massetti getting away with that one. Warren Keith having to take to the apron to avoid it as well. As we've got wholesale pit stops here, Frank.
Yeah, we do. Only 2 cars deciding to stay out. It's the, I believe it's the father-son duo of Austin and Chris Shoemaker that decide to stay out. It is the 15 and the 4.
Yep, as we come out of pit road, Swavely only taking fuel. Justin Hendry only taking fuel. Same for Garrett Brown. The only driver not taking just fuel is Brian Fine. He takes 4 in fuel. Same for Craig Burns. Same for Carl Burke. Now, Ryan Thomas, problems for him. 25 seconds in his box there. I'm not really sure what went on there. Now, we saw this, I think it was last week. He had a problem getting in his pit box and didn't realize he wasn't in his pit box until it was like a weird problem for Ryan Thomas last week.
The problem with Thomas last week was he told us after he watched the race back, he had run out of fuel, which is why he wasn't backing back up into his box and ended up catching himself. I think it was a lap or 2 down. Still had one of the best cars on the track, but just couldn't back up because he was out of fuel. So that 99, I didn't see his pit stop this time. I'll look back and see, but another issue on pit road for the 99.
Yeah, as, we're going to take the advantage of looking through the charts here, and a lot of unhappy people after seeing Kerpel, Bland and Leatherwood involved in that wreck. Yeah, it's unfortunate to see those guys come out.
The only positive you could draw from something like that is no points on the line. So
yeah,
it's about the only thing.
It works in their favor in that respect, but still, that's $500 on the line.
Yeah, that's a nice little hit to the wallet, though. But part of the reason why, the reason why you only saw fuel-only stops on this set of pit stops here, you only have one set of tires you can change onto. So you have the tires you start the All-Star race on, and then one more set, which is why you only saw fuel stops here on this round.
Rachel Luca in the Facebook chat says, Brian Fine has been running just fine, like the quip you made earlier.
Yeah.
So believe me, he's heard plenty of fine jokes. And I mean, that's fine. You know?
I would say so.
Bill Schoonover, you already mentioned about him. He corrected us on the Shoemaker predicament. As lights are off of the pace car, Frank, I believe it's your turn to get us going again.
I think so. And Bill, if you could put down in one of the chats, from what we're hearing, Ryan Thomas, that makes sense. Ryan Thomas stayed in the pits for as long as he did, fixing damage from getting into the back of Ray Rogers. So that's what put the 99
that'll do it.
Back there. Bill, if you could, on either the Facebook or the YouTube chat, if you could tell us which one's father and which one's son, that would be incredibly helpful.
Because
but the pair of them are on the front row. Austin on the inside, Chris on the outside.
We're just normal commentators. We know Big Brain.
I swear we study things before the race. Richard Swavely, the first of the cars that hit and took fuel, will be the number 60 on the inside of the second row. Justin Hendry on the outside. Garrett Brown and Dylan Hastings will make up row 3. So everyone's on the same tires. So everyone is on the same tires, just different fuel from second on back. And the two Shoemakers both dart immediately off the line, and they get a big gap as son Austin.
There you go. You got it.
Ahead of Chris had.
I wondered if you'd seen that or not, but Austin Shoemaker taking the leader. The only problem for the Shoemakers is that they didn't pit during that last caution, and that might come back to bite them. They're going to be hoping for a quick caution here as they come through 3 and 4. Big battle, though, between Swavely and Hendry again as they come out of turn 4, and now here they come to the back of Chris Shoemaker now. Yeah,
is Shoemaker falling back. The only thing that's really going to bother them is the fuel strategy. Again, everyone's on the same set of tires as we're a couple laps away from halfway on the All-Star race. And look at Brian Fine looking to the inside of the 19 of Garrett Brown and then thinking better of it heading down into 3.
Yeah, and Carl Burke right there, and look at Justin Hendry starting to fall back now. Might be hurting a bit there from not taking tires. You see the guys that have taken 4 tires starting to make their way forward. That'll be Brian Fine and Carl Burke really slicing their way through the field as there goes Carl Burke to the inside of Garrett Brown now out of turn 2. And I'm thinking it might have been worth taking those 4 tires instead of just taking fuel here.
The problem is, though, you've got to hold. If you took those tires, you got to hold on to those tires for more than half of the race. This is right around the time now. We're just getting to halfway now, 25 laps to go. This is kind of the time where you know how well these tires are going to last. Let me get new tires on now. Let me run less than half the race. Push a little bit harder on my fresh set of good
we got
gears.
a big incident there between Justin Hendry and Trevor Massetti in the background. That almost ended in tears for both the 3 and the 28 there. Let's go back and take a look at that while they're racing away there. They're just coming out of turn 2. And look at this, it looks Massetti came on the track. Both of them on the apron. And both of them somehow survived that one. As we go back live, the back racing again, but Musetti and Hendry almost ended their races there. As here comes Carl Burke to the lead now, with Craig Burns right behind him.
Yeah, Carl Burke and Burns, Shoemaker's just fallen off completely. That'd be Austin falling off completely. Might have had an issue. Oh, yeah, he did. Going into 1 and 2. Got kind of forced onto that outside lane, not where he wanted to be. That's going to force him back all the way to the 4th position right now. But we were talking about Craig Burns and how good that number 12 is, how good he's been over these last couple weeks. Now the leader here in the All-Star race.
Yeah, just that bad luck being costing him the runs that he's been trying to get. Now he has one of those runs. He's starting to pull away from Carl Burke. Remember, Carl Burke, Craig Burns and Brian Fine all took fresh tyres on the last pit stop. And despite that incident between himself and Justin Hendry, Trevor Musetti now finds himself up to P4. So push me off the track if you like. I'm still making my way forward, says the 3.
Yeah, Musetti has called upon his inner Dale Earnhardt as he is driving that number 3 GM Goodwrench Plus Chevrolet right up through the field. I really wish he would have had the chrome one, the silver one that he ran, I think, in the 95 All-Star race.
Oh, yeah.
If I remember right.
With the orange stripe at the bottom instead of the white, yeah. Oh, the red, sorry.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And that was a beautiful looking car, but he is driving this number 3 right for the back. Started 16th, was the only one that did not put in a qualifying lap. Finished 8th in the second heat. Is now up to 4th and driving that number 3.
That he is, as Craig Burns still leads this thing coming down the backstretch, though. Carl Burke and Brian Fine still right there in the picture. Musetti about 1.2 seconds off the leader, so he's a bit of a ways back. But this might work in his favour. This might be an opportunity for Musetti to save those tyres and just sit back there and just use them up when it's absolutely necessary. Now, this is a good call, if that is exactly the call that he's making right now.
It certainly is, and the guys that would need to pit still, the 15 and the 4, are already behind him, so he's not going to get the benefit of gaining a position or two from guys in front of him pitting. But still, you got to, again, save those tires, because this thing could go green the last 18 laps.
Yeah, as we're looking at the 12 of Craig Burns, they're taking a bit of a higher line through 1 and 2. As Carl Burke took a bit of a deeper line as they come down the backstretch. You see Brian Fine there. He's looking to see what sort of a move he can make if he was close enough to make a move. Not quite there at the moment, but when he is able to make the move, he's just looking to see where he can force a gap here, as he's also running a Sega car, I've just noticed, as well as Justin Hendry.
Teammates, those two.
Yeah. As Craig Burns down the backstretch again. You see Musetti still just sitting back there. He's got a lovely 3-second gap over Richard Swaveley. Obviously, Swaveley and everybody else behind him, apart from Ryan Thomas, who did take tyres and fuel, is... Actually, did Thomas take tyres because he's not exactly making his way forward, is he?
I think he only took fuel because he was trying to fix as much of that damage as he possibly could. So I believe Thomas is one of the guys that took fuel only.
Right, so we've only got 15 cars left in this race. Dustin Reeves is the driver bringing up the rear at the moment. But this 5-car battle here, almost as interesting as the lead battle. As you're seeing Hastings, Hendry, Easley, Wilson and Reeves just battling it out there for those last spots in the race. Obviously, Warren Keith, Steve Kerpel, Parker Bland and Clint Leatherwood are out of this race. Kerpel, Bland and Leatherwood still in the session, but Warren Keith and Ray Rogers have both put it on the hauler.
Yep, these guys still talking about that last group, that 5-car battle. These guys are still fighting hard and swapping positions. That 9 of Dylan Hastings right under Ryan Wilson, pushed up, had to let off a little bit. As maybe another dead heat to the line. Give that one to Wilson in the 20. But a nice battle, and good battles all over the place. Is still that trio up at the front running in the same order.
Yeah, and Justin Hendry running at the back there. That's he's probably got damage stemming from that incident with Trevor Massetti a few laps ago. But looking back at the front here, Brian Fine still just stalking that number 53 right there. Riding behind him, seeing what kind of, like I said, trying to figure out what kind of move he can make once he's able to make the move, and he's getting just about close enough to see if he can try and make a move here. He's right on the bumper now, goes high, and I'm going to go back on that. I'm pretty much thinking he's happy to just sit behind the 53 for now.
Yeah, and this is, speaking of Carl Burke and the 53, just think, out just passing the start-finish line after lap 1 last week, qualifies in second for this run, for this race, has a great run in his heat, and is now running in second. This is a great redemption from last week for Carl Burke. We've seen him run many different things here on ESPN, and he's just having another fantastic run, as we're used to seeing, as I believe we're about to see Austin Shoemaker come into the pits.
Yep,
we are.
Yeah, we are. So Shoemaker coming in for fresh tyres and fuel. He's going to get it wound down in that 15. Now let's see if that works to his advantage here as we're looking at Craig Burns. Now he's saying Carl Burke was out after the first lap last week. Same thing for Craig Burns. He was eliminated very early as well last week, and he had bad luck at Michigan, bad luck at Pocono, more bad luck early on last week. The only difference is for Craig Burns is that he had a throughput, so did not work in his favour that time. But this time around, really putting on a great show here tonight.
Yeah, and don't look now. We've only got 10 laps to go in this thing, and so far it's this trio of Burns, Burke, and Fine that are up at the front. They have pulled a good 5 seconds, 5.5 seconds on Trevor Massetti in the 3, and Massetti has about 2 seconds on Dominic Lee and Richard Swavely, who are working their way up to that number 3.
Now you got to think, those guys that just took fuel, they're probably going to make it to the end, but will their tyres make it to the end? Remember, these cars are running the new tyre model. If they put too much pressure on those tyres will puncture and they will blow, and that will pretty much be the end of the night, because we've seen in real life NASCAR, if these tyres blow at full speed, it'll send them straight into the wall, as we've lost Brian Fine here. Fine's had a problem.
Yeah, Fine has fallen back.
He hit the wall out of 4.
I was going to say, he went wide through 1 and 2, trying to make a run on the outside of Carl Burke, and since then, he's just fallen off. But that's left Carl Burke and Craig Burns a chance to fight, as now there's the caution out. Dylan Hastings.
Oh no, Dylan Hastings in trouble. Let's take a look and see what happened here. And it looks like he might have got into it with Kip Easley. And oh, bit of netcode there between those two.
Yeah, that was 100% netcode between the 9 and the 27, and unfortunately, it's going to put an end to both of those guys' days. But what this could do
is really annoy Craig Burns.
Well, besides that, I thought that this was going to really help Austin and Chris Shoemaker, because they had just come in to make pit stops, and so did Justin Hendry. Thought maybe, but they were both put a lap down on the pit cycle, so they'd be starting at the back of the group either way. That
is providing. I'm not sure if. Can you just look at the race information and see if we do have look at green white checkers? I think we have 2, but I could be wrong.
I would have to assume so. It is not showing me. It's not showing me whether or not we have green white checkers.
Let me have a look at the.
I would assume we do. I believe we have. I do believe we have the two GWCs.
1. They have 1. I'm just looking at the information there. They have 1 extra set of tires. So.
Wow.
Yeah. So Burns, Burke, Fine, and Massetti have already burned half of the life off those tires.
Oh, that's right. Not only was I on replay still, I was I forgot that those guys had already taken tires.
So now, where does this leave Swaverly and everybody else behind him? Because they have just brought it down pit road. So this is going to make things very interesting now, because Burns, Burke, Fine, and Massetti are all going to be on the back foot now. Swaverly and everybody else are on fresh rubbers. So, you know,
you got
swings and roundabouts.
You're gonna have about 4 laps to go, plus a green white checkered in your pocket. Top 4 already have 30 or so laps on their tires. I don't see much of a chance, and this is why you don't take the tires before halfway, is because something like this could happen. And now the 12, the 53, the 98, the 3, and the 6 are all left as sitting ducks, just waiting to get picked off by the guys that didn't take the tires on that first pit stop.
Now, what these guys are going to be hoping for is a very quick caution, which will bring us into, as what Byron would say, green, white, checkered. So, yeah, he wanted me to say it in the chat, so I thought I'd say it. But yeah, they're going to be hoping for a quick caution here, so it brings them into that that overtime situation. Now, obviously, as I've just said, they only get 1 green, white, checkered out of this one, so it's going to be very interesting if we do make it to that point. So far, we've only seen them go to green, white, checkers once, and I believe that was 2 weeks ago at Pocono.
Yes.
So, it's going to be interesting to see how the strategies work out here.
What we have effectively done here is we have turned the sprint into a sprint. We're only going to have about 3 laps to go, and again, you got to watch the 60. Currently sitting in the 6th position, he'll be the 3rd car on the outside lane. He is the first car with fresh tires, and he is going to be little less than patient trying to get through these guys. But I want to say maybe 4 or 5 months ago, I was running an Xfinity race at Kentucky for Be Fixed, and my car was god awful. Stayed out on old tires, green, white, checkered territory. Ended up finishing 3rd because we couldn't get all the green, white, checkers in and finish the race under caution. So you very well can, with this strategy, steal a good finish out of here. Unfortunately, P1 is the only finishing position that matters.
Now, one driver to watch from the back of the field. He's just taken his lucky dog, and he's just taken a pit stop. He's on fresher tyres even more than the drivers in front of him. That is Austin Shoemaker, the younger of the 2 Shoemakers. He's right at the back, obviously, getting that EOL for getting the lucky dog. Watch for that number 15 when we go back green. He's going to be he's going to be like a bullet when we go back racing.
Yeah, he will certainly be quick, and he came in before the 4 under the under green flag conditions, and that's because they didn't pit, period, under the first caution of the night. So those guys are going to be hungry. Starting with that number 60, those guys are going to be really hungry as well. $500 on the line, and we're going to see who's going to get it, hopefully in 3 laps time.
Yeah. And obviously, like I said, only one driver is going to take that money away. Is it going to be one of these 5 drivers that are on the older tyres, or can the guys that are on the fresh tyres make their way to the front and claim victory here tonight as we go back green flag racing? Craig Burns gonna let them loose as the green flag flies here with 3 laps to go here at Charlotte. And it's going to be Craig Burns leading him into turn 1. Here comes Brian Fine to the inside, and I said he was waiting for that time to make a move. Now it's time to make that move as they come out of turn 2, side by side, and already Richard Swaverly is putting the moves on as he's working to the outside of Trevor Massetti.
Perfect restart from Craig Burns. Exactly what you want to do. You want to go as soon as you can. Try to build up as much of a gap back between yourself and all of the cars on fresh tires.
Oh, the grass is Ryan Thomas! Ryan Thomas, big wreck!
Massetti spinning in turn 1.
Now, are we going to see a caution?
No, still no caution now. There goes Carl Burke down the back straightaway.
Oh, now we're going to see a caution. Now we're going to see a caution. Big wreck here. And that is going to bring us to green-white checkers. Oh,
Garrett Brown, my goodness.
Let's take a look here. And this was a mixture of old tyres versus new tyres. Coming out of turn 2. Burke and Brown. Swavely involved. Reeves involved. Oh, big wreck for Garrett Brown. Big wreck.
That's the worst place you can hit, is one of those walls like that. And boy, you saw, and that was Hendry that sent him in there, but there was action all over the place that lap.
We're going to go on board with Garrett Brown now. And for those that have just eaten, I would not recommend watching this.
Just a big hit.
Burke squeezes him up towards the wall. Brown into the wall. Then Swavely involved. And look at this hit. Boom.
So, all in the matter of a half a lap, you had the 99 cut through the grass to try to get under cars with worse tires. Might have had a connection issue because he disappears after that. Oh no, him and Massetti get together at the start line, sends the 99 through the grass, spinning again into the pit wall. The 3 hits the side of the 2, somehow keeps it together as he spins through the apron. And then the big accident that we've already seen.
Now, we should be seeing Chris Shoemaker take the lucky dog here, but unfortunately, I think he might have got caught up in that, so he won't get the lucky dog. But this, you know what? Dominic Lee is in the best position possible right now.
Yes,
After everything he went through in the heat race, after going a lap down at the start of the race, after taking that penalty of starting in pit road, he is now in a position where he can make himself $500 richer, and that is a story in itself.
And the problem is that was the absolute perfect restart for Craig Burns. He had 2 rows worth of cars on older tires in between him and the lead cars. He had gotten out to a big lead by jumping the restart, which you're allowed to do. But now he's not going to be able to get that advantage because he has the fresh tires of Dominic Lee on the inside of him, and that's not going to sit well for the 12.
Not just Dominic Lee, but Ryan Wilson up there as well. That is... There's only a few drivers left in this race, and Ryan Wilson and Dominic Lee are on the freshest tyres. And Austin Shoemaker as well, but he's a bit further back.
And that's what happens when you put $500 on the line.
I mean, what an event we've seen tonight, though, so far. What an event.
And honestly, I could do another hour of this. It's gone by so quick. We're almost done with 3 races here tonight. And it feels like it's been an hour.
We've only been live for an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, usually around this time we're like, oh, please, my goodness, just get to the end. This has been non-stop action. It's been a heck of a night.
It certainly has. As Shoemaker did finally, Chris Shoemaker just took it down pit road. Obviously, didn't get that lucky dog. He was caught up in that incident that brought out the caution, so he will not get the lucky dog, unfortunately. As we go through turns 3 and 4, lights are still on the pace car. I'm a bit worried for Brian Fine and Craig Burns here. They are on such old tyres. Dominic Lee and Ryan Wilson are in the prime position right now.
I'm a little bit more concerned for Craig Burns because there's just this feeling in my gut right now. Neither one of the 2 drivers that sit on the front row, that 41 or the 12, I don't think either one of them is winning this race.
Well, we'll soon find out as the lights go off on the pace car. Frank, you get the honour of starting us for the final time here tonight.
Yes, I will do that. As I just have that overriding feeling that the 12 is going to try to block too aggressively. The 41 is going to say, I have fresh tires and $500 just tickling my pocket. And I think we're going to be looking at either the 98 or the 20 in victory lane after tonight. But lights are out on the pace car. Craig Burns has chosen the outside lane, which is interesting. That sits Dominic Lee in second on the inside lane. Brian Fine, Ryan Wilson, row 2. Row 3, Dustin Reeves, Trevor Massetti. Row 4 is going to be Austin Shoemaker, and it looks like the 27 of Kip Easley.
Easily 7 laps down, so...
Yes, Easley is 7 laps down. So only the top 7. Austin Shoemaker in the 15 is the last car on the lead lap. As we come out of turn 4, Burns is going to need another great restart if he wants any chance at winning this race. Burns slowing them down, holds them up, and then takes off. Green flag is back in the air. No tire spin from the 12, and he will clear the 41 prior to turn 1, but that leaves Ryan Wilson free and clear on the outside lane.
It does, and we're going to go on board with Ryan Wilson as they come out of turn 2. Dominic Lee is right there. Craig Burns needs to make that car as wide as possible as they come flying towards turn 3 now. And this is really going to hit hard if he can't make it round there. And Craig Burns is a sitting duck as there go Lee and Wilson. So it's going to be between the 20 and the 41 as they come down to collect the white flag here at Charlotte. So who's it going to be? Ryan Wilson, Dominic Lee. This is your battle for $500 as they come out of turn 2 here, Frank.
Yep, coming out of 2 onto the back straightaway. Dominic Lee leading them down. Lee just has too much of a gap. Not even a dive bomb from Ryan Wilson could save him now after finishing, I believe it was 7th in the first heat race. Dominic Lee is $500 richer and wins the MPi Cup Series All-Star race.
And what a race we have seen here tonight. Dominic Lee, your winner here at Charlotte. And what an event we've seen. I keep saying it. What an event we have seen here tonight, Frank. I am absolutely out of breath after that one.
It's been exactly what you would expect with no points on the line. It was a wild, wild show with entertainment all throughout.
Yeah, and a big condolences to the drivers that didn't finish this one. Obviously, Carl Burke, very much in contention for the longest time, unfortunately taken out, involved in an incident near the end there. And I'm just looking for drivers right now. 2 seconds. Frank, just give us your thoughts on what we've seen here tonight.
Yeah, it's been a fun and entertaining night. It's really all you can say. Again, it went by so quick. Dominic Lee with Race Pass Motorsports, by the way, so you'd look for that.
Yeah.
It's just been, it went by in a flash. Like I said, I could do another 2 or 3 races, especially if these guys are going to give us the drive that they had. It was a fun night all the way around, and congratulations to Dominic Lee. Congratulations to Ray Rogers on winning the first heat. Congratulations to Richard Swavely on winning the second heat. Just a fun night of racing to be had by all.
And just as we say that, we're going to bring in the race winner, Dominic Lee. Frank, I believe you're with him right now.
I am Dominic Lee. Frank Marchese at ESPN, you got me?
I sure do.
Congratulations. Well, you would say the $1 million man if this were real life, but the $500 man here tonight. What was your thoughts when that caution came out and you realized you were sitting second for that final restart?
Pretty ecstatic there at the end. I don't think that Craig knew that I had new tires because he chose the outside, and so that definitely gave me an advantage on the restart. But yeah, I'm definitely just pretty pumped up about that.
You had, we'll go back to the first heat race. What happened with you in that incident with James Kunkel?
Yeah, I have to apologize 100,000 times over for that. That's all my fault, and I've made some terrible moves, and that incident in particular, I just got tight, and like I said, I just got tight and boldly got into him and spun him, and unfortunately cost him a shot at the big money prize there at the end.
Well, it's being fair. We'll try to give you the chance to apologize for that. And that's a racing incident. And sometimes, unfortunately, things happen. But looking bigger picture here tonight, not a points race, just how much more fun was it to just go out and let it rip tonight, knowing that no points were on the line? You could just go out and have fun.
Oh, it's definitely more fun to do it when there's no points on the line. But it started off sour with that incident for sure. But I started in the back. I kind of gave myself a self-inflicted penalty, if you will, by um, starting from the pits and trying to work my way up through the field and just trying to show everyone that I didn't want to race them that way, and I don't want my name to be mentioned in that way. But yeah, it is definitely fun to not have points on line.
Now, next week, there will be points on the lines. I believe we head to New Hampshire next week. It's a completely different style track from anything we've run so far this season. What are your thoughts going into Loudon, New Hampshire next week?
I truthfully don't have a lot of laps in the Cup car on New Hampshire. I do in the trucks. So during the course of the next week, I would definitely be getting a lot of laps at New Hampshire. But I'm looking forward to it for sure.
All right, any shout outs you want to give before we let you go celebrate?
Yeah, of course, Envision Clothing Company. Um, just Bulldog cards and collectibles, Wild Card Racing, Race Pass Motorsports with Dylan Hastings and Clint Leatherwood and Matt Rogers and just everybody from over there, and Austin Harder, and just everybody that helps me.
All right, there is your all-star race winner and the $500 man, Dominic Lee. Congratulations.
So that was the winner of the $500 here tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We're going to reach out to Ryan Wilson, and he's with me right now. Ryan Wilson, Sam in the booth, you got a copy?
Yeah, I hear you.
Almost eliminated in the first heat race. You came back, found yourself with fresh tyres on that restart. How close do you feel you were to claiming that $500 here tonight?
Well, I had a sort of teammate there in the first, so I didn't want to try to push it and put my car where it didn't. And we both had fresh tires, so I figured I'd just follow him through on that second caution. I figured I'd follow him through the pack, and we just ended up 1-2.
Absolutely, and it was almost over very early for yourself, Ryan. That first heat race, were you carrying some damage at the end there? Just a bit of luck on your side helped you through to the main race there.
Yeah, I didn't take any tires on that first caution on the heat race, so I was running on old tires there at the end. So I was just holding on for dear life, trying to stay in that top 10.
Yeah, and definitely with that wreck with James Kunkel helped you through to the main race. He's pretty much held your own near the back there and fighting it out with the guys in the between 10th and 15th. Were you just pacing yourself for the most part of that race, or were you just struggling with old tires just like everybody else?
I was just being patient, trying to pick my line, trying to pick my spots.
All right, so good race for yourself here tonight. Looking ahead to next week, we go back to points racing as we head to Loudon, New Hampshire. A bit of a different dynamic of the tracks that we've seen already this season. What's your thoughts going into that one?
Just stay clean, and hopefully I can be back in here and have an interview with you guys again.
Absolutely. And before I let you go and celebrate your second place, anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to my team, Race Pass, and it's always fun running with them. I like this league. It's fun racing.
All right, well, it's Ryan Wilson in the number 20 Napa machine coming home second place here in the All-Star race at Charlotte. Congratulations one more time, and we'll see you next week when we head to Loudon.
Thanks, man.
So that was Ryan Wilson joining us in the booth. My God, my brain. For this one. But now we are going to reach out to the most unluckiest man we've seen so far since we took over broadcasting. But Frank, he's had a bit of luck on his side, and you're with him right now.
Yes, I am. The driver of the number 12, Craig Burns. Craig, anything you wish you could do different on that last restart?
Everyone probably thinking why I chose the outside, and I knew I was sitting in a bad seat on old tires, and I was talking to my teammates, and they said everyone on the outside has new tires, might as well try to stack them up a little, and I knew if Ryan or Dominic Lee jumped the start, he would have got a black flag, and he didn't. So, hats off to Dominic Lee. He raced a perfect race, man. I don't know. My mind is racing. My heart's racing. It was a good race. Just hated seeing those cautions.
Yeah. Speaking of cautions, you were involved in a little bit of an incident during your heat race. What happened there during your heat race? You got a little bit of damage coming out of 4.
I saw 2 cars get together coming off 4, and they're sliding down. I did everything I could to avoid it, and fortunately, we only got 12.5 optional out of it, so that's cool. I think we finished 5th and got in the main.
All right, going into Loudon, New Hampshire next week, what are your thoughts? First time driving on a track like that this season, as flat as it is. What are your thoughts going into New Hampshire? I'm
excited to step away from the high downforce, low horsepower package, and get the cars a little loose out there. I'm pretty excited, honestly.
All right, anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, shout out to Wallbangers. Chris Wilson, Dakota Curtis, Steve Capel, those guys. Those are the guys that make this league happen. So, and shout out to you guys for doing your thing. I know you guys are awesome up there in the booth, and I'm happy for coming home 3rd after all the VR and internet issues I've been having on my end.
And we're certainly glad and happy for you to have finally have that finish you absolutely deserve. Congratulations on your 3rd place tonight.
Appreciate you guys.
So that was 3rd place driver Craig Burns. Before we go to the results of this race, though, Frank, again, it's been another absolute barn burner with these guys.
It is, and just I can't say it enough. Just another fun night of entertaining racing, and I love. This is my first time calling an all-star race event or an event with heats and a final main, and this was just. I do love this style of racing, this asphalt racing with the heats and all that. It's a really nice break from what we normally see.
Yeah, and unfortunately, all good things must come to an end, and next week we return to Cup points racing as the Cup Series continues at New Hampshire next week. But before we go on to that one, let's go to the results of tonight's race, and my goodness me, what a race we've seen here tonight, as Dominic Lee will be the driver that's brought home the win here tonight, bagging himself $500 for winning this one tonight. And Ryan Wilson, his teammate, came home in 2nd place. Craig Burns in 3rd place. 4th going to Austin Shoemaker. He tried to make that run near the end on those fresher tires. Just wasn't enough for the man in the 15. Brian Fine rounds out your top 5. Trevor Massetti in P6. 7th going to Dustin Reeves. 8th going to Chris Shoemaker. 9th to Richard Swaverley, who had that late retirement, and Garrett Brown, who went for that wild ride in that last caution, came home in P10 there, Frank.
Yeah, the rest of these guys did not finish the race here tonight. Ryan Thomas finishing in 11th. Carl Burke, Justin Hendry, Kip Easley, 12th, 13th, and 14th. All of them 7 laps down. Dylan Hastings finishing in 15th. Warren Keefe finishing 16th. 17th to Steve Kerpel. 18th to Clint Leatherwood. 19th to Parker Bland. And Ray Rogers having that issue going into turn 1 at the start of the All-Star race. Also, a big shout out to Daniel Holcroft, Ryan Ezell, Jason Clark, Jerry Culver, James Kunkel, and Matt Rogers, who were unfortunately eliminated during the heats.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they're usually good runners during the week, but unfortunately tonight was not their night. Hopefully next week it will be their night at New Hampshire, as we go there for the next round of the Cup Series and racing for points this time round. Very much looking forward to that one, but for now, that is going to do it for us here on ESPN with the MPi Cup Series here for their All-Star race here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. From myself, Sam Cooper Bennett, and from Frank Marchese joining me in the booth, all that's left for me to say is right now, keep it clean, keep it green, and we will catch you live next week on the MPi Cup Series here on ESPN for New Hampshire. Have a good night.